Hey, who's here so far? You are early. Welcome, welcome. If you have any questions to ask about Korean before we get started with our class today, now is a perfect time. Let's see who's here already. Olivia was first. Welcome. A few other people. Cosma, Keith, GTB, the great. Yes, yes. With what is it? Anime series, and did they make a live action drama of that too? 뭔가 이상한 것 같아요. Interesting background. So yes, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, let's just ignore it. So how's everyone doing? Where's everyone watching from today? That's always the way to deal with things. You know, if there's a problem, just pretend it doesn't exist, then it doesn't, right? Welcome, Claire Wilson. Hey, Camille from Germany, India, New Jersey, very far away from the country of New Jersey, Dominican Republic, hola, Belgium, UK. We just turned on the live stream, so people are still kind of funneling in. For some reason, my YouTube viewer count is like frozen on my screen over here. But I see there are few people still coming in right now. Hola, Pittsburgh, the state of, yeah, obviously, I mean, I may be American like you, but I'm not that bad at geography. I am not good, but I'm not that bad. I've actually been there, I think, once, because I went through there. Something I did there was like, did we fly out of there? Something, I just remember going there one year, and it was like there's some huge, I guess, hurricane or whatever, so I had to leave. We took a train from New York down to New Jersey, I think it was, and then flew out of New Jersey. Something like, I don't know what it was, something like that. 영국에서 보고 있습니다. Welcome from 영국, California. Scotland. Yeah, we'll talk about the background in a second. So I'll wait until a few more people have come in. We just turned on the stream. I know I'm starting a little earlier than usual. The lesson itself will always start at the top of the hour. So if you're here wondering, why am I not teaching Korean right now? It's because I always turn on the live stream like 20 minutes or so before we start, just to kind of say hi, make sure there are no bugs in the live stream, make sure you can hear me and everything like that. And we always start the class right at the top of the hour. Roughly between 41 north and 49 north latitude and 82nd west and 91 west longitude. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm good, thanks. I'm watching you from Poland. Nice. After the Oscars wins, anyone else think Billy should rewatch K-pop Demon Hunters, but this time in the original? I've never seen the dubbed version. I actually only watched it. I watched it twice. Once by myself when it first came out, and then the second time again later with my kid. And both times I only watched it in the original language. In fact, it's kind of funny because the first time I saw it, I was like, people were, because it just came out and people were already talking about it. They're like, oh, did you hear K-pop Demon Hunters came out? Songs are really cool, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, I should probably watch it because it's a Korean thing. And I watched it, of course, in Korean. And I was thinking, like, I mean, the songs are good, but it's kind of weird how they didn't even bother to match the mouths. But then I realized right after I said that, oh, it's because it wasn't made in Korea. But I didn't think of that when I first turned it on. I was just thinking like, oh, it's a Korean animation. But then realizing that, like, oh, because it was made to match with the lips in the English version because it was made in California. But then, yeah, so I've never seen the dubbed version. I don't know what it sounds like at all. Except, I mean, the songs are the same in both versions. There's very little Korean in the Korean songs. There's like a few lines here and there. But besides that, yeah, I don't know what the voice actors sound like in English. Rochester, New York. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I've had a few people ask me about my bias, my favorite member in Stray Kids, and my response is always the same. Watch the videos. I say it in the video for the member. I say who my favorite member is. It's not a secret, but yeah, you have to watch it. So people are watching the video, they're like, oh, I can tell this is Billy's favorite. I said it's my favorite in the video where it's them, so you have to watch all 8 videos if you want to figure out, or I guess, all 8 videos if you want to find out who my favorite member is. Although this will be the last episode coming out tomorrow for IN. And then what are we going to do? No more Stray Kids content for a long time, at least. I'm not going to be going back there for at least a few years unless something major changes. Like if suddenly like Felix starts speaking like a native, like 100% native, or Pangtan, or like one of the other members does, or something, like, unless there's some major change, it's probably the last video, but we'll see. There could also be like other related videos. There could be a video about like the song wordplay. We'll see. But yeah, tomorrow will be the last one. So about the background, I think I could probably mention it right now. We're still very early, but the background is I'm actually going to be filming several new videos tomorrow that I'll be posting. Probably you'll see them be posted in May, because I have to film some stuff in advance for while I'm going to be gone in Korea. So I'm going to be filming a few Korean FAQ episodes that will be uploaded from May. And I have the room set up. It's actually not set up to do that. You can kind of see here. Let me see if you can notice here, if I move the microphone, that's actually the screen I use for filming Korean FAQ. I have that. It's not set up in the right spot. It's just kind of sitting here. And after the live stream ends today, I will have to immediately, well, first I'll have to edit the lesson, but as soon as I finish editing, I'm going to have to rearrange the entire room. I've actually already taken out my podcast set. So my podcast set is actually out of the room. It's for the first time since last September. This room is now open since I started building the set in September. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing some Korean FAQ videos here, filming those tomorrow, and then filming some more videos later in the week. So I wanted to move everything out, and that's why the background looks all weird, because I literally cannot move the background that I normally have here. I can't move it in a position because there's too much stuff in the way for getting ready to film Korean FAQ. So that's what's up with the background today. I did at least lower the white paper. I didn't want you to have to see like the bare bones of the room. So there's at least that. But yeah, it's not as nice as it normally is with the color. Though the lesson will still be just as good as a regular lesson, if not better. Because the topic I'm doing today, there is no lesson on the internet about right now. And I always search. Whenever I write a lesson, I always search the topic to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, to make sure, I should remember to mention this, another person taught it and they said this. I always do my own research on topics. And this is a topic that it's not taught. And there aren't really any resources about it in Korean either. So I think it's going to be a special lesson for today, that you get to learn something that you normally wouldn't get to learn except through lots of listening practice. You will see this form and you can learn it through enough exposure and getting used to it. But now you're going to get it like really solid, like exactly how it's used and everything. So it should be a good lesson for today. Definitely useful if you're an intermediate speaker. English with Korean tips. Are there Korean parts in the English dub besides the bits that are in the songs? Does anyone say Korean at all in the English dub? Like for the dialogue? Because I haven't watched it. I don't know. That would be kind of interesting. If so, what would they say? Was there any like part where the character suddenly switches to Korean? That sounds like a lot of work to move it all back and forth. It was. I spent 4 hours yesterday taking the podcast set pieces out of the room because there's a lot of stuff. It's like, besides, the television and that stuff's obvious. There's some props, but also like the entire floor and baseboards, like all of that comes out. Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff to move, and the floor is very heavy. It's like 50 pounds or something for the floor piece. So I didn't want it to be like warping over time, so I got a heavy one. But yeah. Welcome. Camille says beginning of May. Oh, okay, that's good. Good time to go to Korea. I'm going to Seoul, Jeju, and Busan. Any tips what to do at that time? As much stuff outside as you can. May is a good time to go. It's not too hot. Even on the hottest days, it's still okay. It shouldn't be cold, so you wouldn't have to worry about like bringing any like thick clothes, except just bring like a hoodie just in case if it's like rainy weather or if you're going out really late or really early. But besides that, you should be fine. Visit parks, there are like gardens you can go to in Korea. There are places called like Sumogwan, which is like an arbitrary, what's the name of it? Or like a place with a bunch of trees. There's a word for it. Arboreum? Okay. Anyway, I would recommend checking out some of those places, like nature sorts of things that you normally can't do other times of the year because the weather's too hot or too cold, or there's just nothing to look at. Same with fall though. If you're in Korea in like November, it's also October, November, you can also do that sort of stuff. Busan, as someone who lived there for a while, I'd be curious what you'd want to do there. I've been all over and I like it, but the stuff that I would do is not the stuff I think tourists would want to do, because they kind of want like, show me something really unique, like I can't see anywhere else. Whereas I like the stuff that's no, it's not like unique, but it's in the sense of like compared to your home country, but it's unique in the sense of it's very Busan-like. There's a lot of stuff like that. Hiking can be kind of cool in Busan if you're into that. Like you get different views of the city. There's some areas you can walk around where, because it's kind of shaped like a dome, no matter where you go up the hill, you can just walk back down from any location and you'll get to the same street area. So you can't really get lost, which is nice. You can just say, hey, I'm just going to walk around the neighborhood. Just go up, walk around the neighborhood, go anywhere you want. You don't need a GPS. And then when you're done, all right, I'll go back down. Just walk right back down and you're back kind of around where you started, or at least on that same street. You can get to the subway again. Seolmyeon is pretty cool. If you're in Busan, you want to shop around and look kind of like what's the city center is Seolmyeon. Nampodong is also pretty cool if you want the underground area, especially if you want to do some like sketchy shopping. I like that area. The of course, Jagalchi fish market. The Jagalchi market is pretty cool. I don't know if you'd buy anything there, but you maybe can get lunch there. Very like traditional Busan stuff. But if you're going to go to Busan, most people that go to the tourist area, which is by the beach, but I'm not personally a fan of that area. Jeju, literally anywhere you go in Jeju outside of the city is pretty cool. So I don't think I can really give you a suggestion for that. Just existing there, you're going to have a nice time. It looks cool. Yeah, good weather overall. I'd say you picked a nice time to go. Ruchi says, I'm curious how puda means to think. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Don't worry. Like I said, arboretum. Okay, thank you. Arboretum. That's the word I was trying to think of. I'm also a beginner. Any advice? What should be the approach for learning Korean? I have a beginner course. Just search beginner on my channel. There's 100 videos. They're free and they go in order and starts from the very beginning. That's what I recommend if you're a brand new beginner. Oh, Samataduta. Thank you. I would click like, but it's not, there's no like button, but just pretend I'm clicking like on your donation. Make sure I spell it right. The 89 is not the dollars. It's not $8,920. That would be very nice, very generous, but $20 is also very generous. Thank you. Samataduta. Keith said, I got my plane ticket. I'm looking for a place in Gyeongju. Okay, that would be cool. Walking along the Han River is a favorite pastime of many citizens. Yeah, Han River is also cool because there are, like when tourists think visiting Han River, that's not really a thing. It's like saying you're going to visit the Great Wall of China. I guess it's like, from what point? I mean, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, do it. Visit the Han River. But like, no matter where you are, there's going to be cool, different things you can see. So I think it's a good spot because no matter where you are, just go to the Han River. Like the closest Han River spot you can get to, there's stuff on both sides, like the whole way. And they have like different parks. There's like some areas that have like, a little island you can visit even. There's a lot of cool stuff to see there. There are bits and bobs of Korean, but all the English was performed by brilliant Korean voice actors. There's Korean. I'd be curious then if there's like randomly speaking in Korean while they are speaking in English in the dub. Like I said, I never heard the English dub. Or I guess it would be the original and the Korean would be the Korean dub. Sounds like it's boredom. Yeah. But it's cool. There are some really big ones. The word you want to look for, there's actually a Korean word you can search for. Sumogwan. Sumogwan is the arboretum. That word, whatever the word, the tree place. Basically, it's just like a garden. It's just like a botanical garden type of idea. And they'll have lots of trees there. They'll have things you can do there and see there. Like they might have like a butterfly enclosure, that sort of stuff. And places to take photos, which is nice. So if you go there with someone else, you can get some pretty photos. This, though, I think would be cooler if you're like, that's the thing. This kind of thing is cooler to me as someone who lives or partially some of the time lives in Korea. But if you're a tourist and you go there, you're going to say, well, it's just a garden. Like, it's cool, but I can go to these in my own home country. But for someone living in Korea, it's like, no, this is a different type of site you don't normally get to see in Korea. So yeah, it's up to you. There is, what actually could be cool? Okse is silvergrass. So that's in Korean dramas you might see where it's like, it looks like, it's like the tail of a fox, kind of like a bunch of these little plants. They're like silver color and they're reflective in the sun. They just kind of like fill up the entire area. There's a lot of oksepur places in Korea, but there is a hill near Seoul. I can't remember what part of it, but there's some places near Seoul that have like just tons of this silvergrass. You might want to check out a place for that because there still should be some silvergrass if you go there in early May. Yeah, there should be actually the whole month of May. But that's something that's kind of cool. It's something you can't really see as much in other countries, as well as sugu, or as we would call in English, hydrangeas. Those flowers. They're very popular in Korea, and there are some places where you can see just gigantic gardens of those hydrangea. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're really pretty big flowers. They look really nice. They're really common in Korea, but there are some garden places that have a lot of them. And I think that would be pretty unique because you're not going to find that many of them in most other places. Even in your home country, if you find some, you're not going to find like tons of them. Oh, before I erase this, you should know the prerequisites for the lesson today. You should be familiar with plain form. If you're not, I'll do a really quick review, as well as how to make basic quotes, which uses the plain form. So if you don't know this, you should have learned it once before at least, because today's lesson is really more it's useful for intermediate speakers. It's also useful to know as a beginner, but if you're an intermediate, you really want to know this form because it's, but anyway, it uses quotes for that. I just saw the board flash. Let me check that out. Oh, Heather Kingston. Thank you. Thank you for the $2 donation. Let me see if I missed any other comments. Is it the ka puda form? Nope, it is not. So amazing. This is a quoting form that means to think. Why is it Jeju-do and not Jeju-som? The reason is because it's a Hanja word, and do is the Hanja for island. Som is the pure Korean word for island, so you can say Jeju는 섬이에요, like Jeju is an island. But if you're saying Jeju Island as the word, the name is Jeju-do because it's all part of the same Hanja word. What's your opinion on the Hangang bus? You're talking about the new thing that goes across the Hangang, the boat. It's only a tourist thing. no Korean in their right mind would take it to actually travel because of how long it takes and how infrequent it is. But if you're a tourist and you want to ride a boat along the Hangang, sure. I think if you're older, it would be cool. Like if you're not able to walk very much, I think it would be a nice thing to do is to take the new boat or whatever they have that goes across the Hangang. Just because, you can't really walk across it, but you at least get to see it that way. If you are able to walk well or ride a bike or wheelchair or anything like that, as long as you can still move okay, I think walking along the Hangang would be a much nicer experience than that. And there are areas where you can cross it anyway with a regular bus. So it's not a big deal. Arboretum. Okay, thanks, Evolving Brain. I'm more familiar with the Korean word than the English word. That's why. Yeah, hydras. Hail Hydra when you go to Korea. Hail, yes. I think, though, hydras are really cool. I didn't even know it was like a thing. Because if you go to Korea, it's not like they're not like represented anywhere. You don't see like posters with them or photos of them or anything like that. It's not like the national flower or anything like that. But you start seeing them here and there and you're like, oh, that's a nice flower. And then you notice lots of people put them in their gardens. And then you'll notice, wait a minute, that wall is covered with them. And when you pay attention, you'll realize that suguk are everywhere in Korea. Like they're a popular flower. And yeah, there are some really cool places. Oh, if you're in Jeju, make sure to see the, I think it's poppy field or is it sunflower field? There's a field with like all flowers in Jeju. Check that one out. You'll know what I'm talking about. If you search like Jeju flower field, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's like some photo spots you can go to. Assuming that they're still there. They should be. Heard of a restored stream? Yeah, Cheonggyecheon in Jongno. That's also really long. I think Cheonggyecheon is cool if it's your first time there, because you can walk along it and they'll sometimes have like lights and stuff. You can get off, you can walk out of the river area. You can get something to eat or like a cafe or convenience store and go back. And it's not that long of a walk. It's okay. I think it's like it should be part of an activity. It shouldn't be like your destination. Like today we're going to the Cheonggyecheon. I think that's going to be kind of underwhelming. But if it's like we're going here and we're going to get there by walking across the Cheonggyecheon, then sure, that would be really cool. Yeah, Captain America elevator scene. That was such a cool move. When that came out, that was such a cool thing. Man, they never reached that height again. After Endgame, they just like there have been a couple. Eternals was the first movie. No, that's not true. Thor 2 was also where I was like falling asleep during it. That was Thor 2 and the Eternals, the only movies I've like fallen asleep while watching it on streaming. Besides that, the other movies I've fallen asleep in theaters, the only one was the original Hulk movie, the one that was in like 2002 or something like that, the original Hulk movie. That one I was legitimately falling asleep in the movie theater during. Yeah, they just never replicated their success after that. Wanda, I didn't watch that show. I haven't watched too many shows, so I can't comment on that. And I do enjoy some of the... That's actually, it's not true. I did like the Spider-Man movies, which were still after that. Spider-Man No Way Home was a fun fan service movie, but it was still fun watching it once at least. The Yellow Flower Field. Yes, the Yellow Flower Field. That's always in dramas. Yeah, Marvel movies, I don't know. I'm hoping that they've learned their lesson and that Doomsday will be fun. But I also feel like they haven't learned their lesson because they're just going to be bringing back... I mean, I won't spoil anything in case you don't know, but I'm just saying they're bringing back someone. Is it a spoiler? There's actually 2 people they're bringing back. I don't want to spoil anything. Anyway, I don't know. The whole point of the Marvel movies, though, is that they are like B movies as far as story goes, but like good, but a B movie where you watch it and you're like, okay. But they pad that. They're supposed to pad it with like all this cool spectacle and fun, dialogue and interesting effects. Like that's the idea. Like it's a real popcorn flick. But then the newer ones came out that were coming out, it feels like they try to make the story like something really in depth and really deep lore. And it's like, we don't care. We just want to watch a fun movie, and kind of lost like the charm, I guess, that was helping to pad it out. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's like superhero fatigue. I think it's just they stopped making good ones. Yeah, we are learning. We're learning the Korean language. Don't worry. We'll start the live at the top of the hour. We're just kind of hanging out before the class starts, like we always do. Yeah, it's Kai. Thanos felt deserved because even though they only really introduced him in the Infinity War, we didn't really see him at all before that. It felt like deserved because they had slowly built the individual people up, and then we kind of liked them all, but they're all unique. They didn't like try to make them all in the same world in the movies. It felt like separate movies, right? Like they're, Thor's and wherever his palette, I can't remember what was his place? It wasn't Valhalla, was it? Anyway, Thor's in his place, Iron Man's world is like this, like, technical and everything. And then Captain America's world, like they're kind of like separate styles of movies. So we like all of the characters already, somewhat. You might like some more than others. And then when they put them together, it's like, but then after that, they're like, so what do we do? Well, let's just say there's this guy named Kong, but then he gets around, he gets in trouble. So they have to abandon that whole thing. And they don't even try to build him up. So it's like, we don't really care. And then if you're not trying to make a good separate movie, then we're not going to care when you bring these two poor movies together, especially like we want to, and I don't know. And then they want to continue their current characters, but without realizing that you're still watching a separate movie. We're not watching TV shows. Like if you watch a good TV show and the first episode's amazing, but the second episode's not very good, you're going to watch the third episode because you want to know what happens to the character that you liked in the first one. You might even watch it to the end, even if it's like progressively worse. You're going to be like, oh man, like a Game of Thrones fan. You still watch it to the end, right? But a movie, you don't do that. You watch the first one, it's great. The second one's not so good. You're not going to watch the third one. They have to make it, every movie has to stand on its own. I think they kind of are forgetting that it's not a TV show. We want movies. And if you want a good movie, like you want a good third movie or like a Avengers movie, you got to have a good first and second movie, or else we're not going to care about the character in your big Avengers movie. So I'm not a movie exec. I'm sure they know way more than me. It's just my opinion as a theater goer. And I don't even go see that many movies. I only go on Tuesdays when they're discounted anyway. And I only see the ones that I'm like, I really have to see this movie. And that's it. Like, I won't go casually to see movies anymore. Just Asgard. Thank you. I knew it was something like that I couldn't pronounce. Yeah, we'll get started with class in just 3 minutes. Don't worry. They had some sort of start for Kong, but they were scrambling. Yeah, it didn't feel like they were really putting effort into it. And I feel like that's too bad because a character that can traverse the multiverse and be very powerful would be a really cool villain. But to think, however, they really fumbled it because even if the actor hadn't gotten in trouble, I think it was like domestic abuse or something like that. Even if he hadn't gotten in trouble, they demonstrated in that very movie where they introduced him that he got defeated. So why should we care about this guy being the new villain if he was just defeated in the very first movie introducing him, like properly introducing him? So I was like, they should have had him win or escape or something, or maybe like, he loses, but he actually won. I don't know. And the thing is, that movie, the Ant-Man movie, the third Ant-Man movie, actually had some fun stuff in it too. It wasn't like a bad movie, but they just really fumbled the villain. That's too bad. They got to start doing background checks on their actors before they hire them now. Although I guess maybe not, because that's one of the things Robert Downey Jr. then would not have got cast in the beginning if they did that. So I don't know. It's interesting. Welcome as well, Heather Kingston, our new member. We'll get started in just 1 minute with our lesson. Can you explain adding the water to the last rice? Yes. So, Kat, if you want to, it's not something that younger Koreans nowadays do, but You're asking about two things, actually. One, I think what you're asking about, I'll answer first, and that is when you order a dish that has scorched rice at the bottom, that comes cooked, and the bottom of your bowl has scorched rice, then you add water to loosen it up. And you make essentially what is called 누룽지 tang. 누룽지 is the scorched rice, and tang is like the soup. So you add boiling water, cover it. It kind of helps it separate from the bottom of the bowl. Otherwise, you have to like scrape it and it won't come off. And then you get this like soup with the cooked scorched rice that you can eat. It's really good. But there's another thing you are asking about. You might not know you're asking about, but that is adding regular water to the bottom of your rice bowl, which is a different thing. That is a way to finish your rice bowl 100% by adding a little bit of water at the end. Just cold water is fine. And then drinking the water from your rice bowl with that little bit of rice, like sticky rice left in there. That's something that older generations might do. And if they catch you doing it, they're going to be impressed because it's like a secret. It's like one of those, this person knows Korea sort of secret things that I've never told anyone about. That actually it's a secret I probably shouldn't be telling you. There's going to be some agent behind my house maybe tonight telling me like, don't do that again, Billy. But yeah, after you finish your rice bowl, if you put water in, if you finish your water from your rice bowl, it's like, it's a good luck thing in Korea. It's like a really, really cool secret that they will think you're super cool. They might not say anything, but you might see them look at you and be like, haha. They're thinking, oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know they knew that. But yeah, the first thing you're asking though is probably about 누룽지 tang. And the why is just so you can finish your rice. And it tastes good. Imagine a Korean superhero. There is a Korean superhero. It's a Taegukgi man or something like that, who has the Korean flag. He looks like a professional StarCraft player, and he wears the Korean flag. He's a real superhero. I don't know what his powers are. Can he like shoot kimchi out of his arms or something? I know nothing about him other than that he exists. There is a Korean superhero. And no, they will probably never put him in any movie. Although I don't know, who knows. Maybe the next Spider-Man movie, if that ever releases in my lifetime, will include him. Okay, let's get started with the class. Oh, Kai, hold on. Kai says they left a donation. I have to check that. Check that right before we start. In my Gmail, I think. Gmail. Oh, Kai, thank you. Kai sent a donation directly to me. A $15 donation. That is awesome. Thank you. I'll take anything I can get because last month, my wife and I were like, hey, let's try to save a little bit of money. So we started researching food recipes that we can make that are still good, but in bulk, just to save a little bit of money on groceries. And then 2 weeks ago, our microwave, or last week, anyway, a little over a week ago, our microwave suddenly broke. It's like it's the original microwave that was with this house or apartment when it was first built. So that broke. So okay, we got to get a new microwave. And then I kid you not, 30 minutes before this live stream started, my one of the breaker switches in my house popped from the tea kettle, and now I can't even reset the breaker. It doesn't reset properly. So I have to call an electrician, I think, to get a new breaker switch. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, so I'm like, I appreciate it, Kai. This is directly going toward either my microwave or my fixing my electricity. And I don't think I'm going to do that by myself. I think I like to live. So what? Well, hold on. If anyone knows about electricity, let me know how I should not be doing that. No, I don't see anything. Oh, maybe I'll check it later. I don't know. Maybe it'll come in later. Let me know. Maybe it's late. Maybe it'll come in a second. Okay, I got to get started with the lesson though first. I'll check it again in a minute. So we're going to be learning about how to say to think, but we're going to be using a form you might not know because it's not the most commonly taught way, but it's definitely very commonly used. But in order to say to think, we first need to say to think with a more basic form, and that requires making a basic quoting form. So a basic quoting form is going to use the plain form. So if you already know how to make the plain form, you can like use your phone and doodle and read and check your messages, whatever you want. I'm going to do a really quick review of the plain form that you can use to make quotes in Korean, because we need this first before we can say, I think, using the form puda. So if you have an action verb stem, then you're going to be attaching either 는, 다, or a nian, 다. If it ends with a consonant, you're going to attach 는다. And if it ends with a vowel, you're going to attach nian, 다. There is one exception for this. If it ends with the letter lir, you remove it. So the L goes away, and then you attach nian, 다. So, like hada is ha, ends in a vowel, so you attach handa. 먹다, to eat, is 먹, a consonant, you get 먹는다. And 살다, to live, 살, you remove this, and you're left with 사, you get 산다. Pardon it being so messy. This is just a really quick review. Or, you should already know this, but it's just kind of to get us all on the same page. There aren't any other exceptions though, which is nice. So that's for an action verb. If you have a descriptive verb stem, you're actually already done. So if you have a descriptive verb that is like 춥다, to be cold, it is just 춥다, you are done. So that's how you get to the regular plain form with an action verb or a descriptive verb. But we're not just doing the plain form when you're making a quote. It's almost the exact same thing. But what you do with the plain form is you're actually going to attach 고 after 다. So if we have an action verb like 하다 becomes 한다, 고. If we have a descriptive verb like 춥다, you get 춥다, 고. So we're attaching 고 to the end, and that makes it a plain quoting form, not just the plain form. There is an exception. 있다 and 없다, or maybe it's not an exception depending on how you look at it. These ones just become 있다고 and 없다고, so nothing special. But for the verb ida to be, even though it's a descriptive verb, it doesn't just become 이다고, it becomes actually 이다고 after a consonant or 나고 after a vowel. And the same goes for the verb 아니라고, and the same goes for the verb 아니다, to not be, which becomes 아니라고. So these are the only two real exceptions you have to remember, is ida and 아니다, to be and not to be. But that's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to leave this up for a second, and then I'm going to show you really quickly past tense and future tense. But I see I got a notice here. Hold on. I got an email. Oh, wow, Kai. Kai just doubled it. Thank you. I think both of these are from Kai, because Kai said they doubled it. Thank you so much. Sorry, sometimes I check the emails come in a little late. And then I also got something from who is this? Oh, this is Kat. Kat. Okay, I need some more space here. Kat also sent over, hold on, not a Z, it's supposed to be a 2. $20 from Kat. Thank you. Why can't I write this? This is like so messy. I'm like trying to write in this little space here. There we go. Thank you, Kat and Kai. Both of you. That's very nice of you. Bank thought the duplicate was fraud. Nice. No, they thought the first one was fraud. They're like, are you sure you want to send money to this guy is probably what they're thinking internally. They have like my face next to keycats on their wall. And anytime someone tries to send money, it gets flagged. I might have put my government name instead of Kai. So that's why it says Arnold Schwarzenegger sent $15. Okay. Don't worry, I'll keep your secret. I won't tell anyone. Okay. Yeah, that's good because I'm like, I don't want to get a new microwave. But like the annoying, what's really annoying though is my microwave spot is exactly the size of the microwave that broke. And it's an old size from when this place was first built, I think in like 2005. So the microwaves, what is it? It's like the microwaves that go over your oven. They were all like standard 16 inches or something. And now the standard is 16 and a half. That doesn't actually fit. So I have to go for I have to search for the exact same model, the exact same size to find one that fits. Because all of the cheaper, easier to find models now are 16 and a half inches, which is really annoying. I can't put the larger size because there's like a little bit of tile on the wall that would block it. So I have to either pay someone to cut the tile half an inch or buy the original microwave again. So I'm probably just going to buy the original microwave. Otherwise, it's going to be expensive to hire someone to carefully cut that out because that's not something I can do by myself. If I tried to do it, I probably would mess it up because I'm not that good of a handyman. Okay, so I want to quickly get this review done because I know most of you already know this. Probably all of you know this, but just so we're all on the same page. Now, past tense of the plain quoting form is also very simple. You conjugate a verb into the past tense as normal, and that'll always end with this. Like hada, for example, is 했어요, right? And when you conjugate this, you're going to have to apply a bunch of special rules to this, like normal, if it ends in this vowel, you got to do this. If it ends with this, you got to do this. So once you've got here, you're actually done. All you do is you attach ta after this, and then cool. So, 했어요. You just remove everything after this, and then you attach 타고. So you have 했다고. That's the past tense plain quoting form. So once you get to here, you just attach ta followed by 고 to make it into a quote. I'm only going to give you that one example because they all work the exact same way. There are no exceptions to that. As well as the future tense. When you're using the future tense, you can either use the 겠다 ending, like 했습니다 or whatever. But once you get to here, all you have to do is attach 타고. So if you have a verb stem, 하겠, like 하다 becomes 하겠다고. And you're done. Any verb stem, there are no exceptions. Even with the letter L or anything like that. It's all the exact same thing. Just attach 겠다고. Or, more commonly, when you're using the future tense, you'll actually be using the 것이다 ending, right? This is the ending where you go like 할 거예요, or 할 것입니다, or 할 겁니다, anything like that. So to make a plain quote using this form, it's actually already done. All you have to do is use 것이다 instead of 이다, since we remember 이다 becomes 이라고, so you get that. Or more commonly, it's not 것. Why did I say 것? How would you pronounce that? More commonly, it's not 것, it's actually 거, which means you attach 이다 to this, which just becomes 라고, remember? 거라고, and you're done. So if we have 하다, 할 거라고, the end, 할 것이라고, that's it. So that's the future tense. So that's all of the tenses and all of the exceptions for making a plain quoting form. You probably already knew this, but I just wanted to remind you. Hopefully we're okay on time. Yes, we are okay on time. That's good. I did want to do that really quick. Okay, so why is that important? Because the very basic, you can do any sort of quoting just with that basic form. You can say that someone says something, or heard something, or thinks something. And that's what the lesson today is focused on, is how to say to think. But before we go over the form puda, I do want to do a really quick review of 생각하다. I'm going to write this again because I wrote it really messy. Let's first talk about 생각하다. Because we have to talk about this in order to talk about puda, or else you'll think it's the same thing, because puda is very different. So, you can take any plain quoting form. That'll end with ko, right? Whatever it is. Any tense, any verb. And then you attach the verb 생각하다, which means to think. But it doesn't just mean to think in general. This one is more like consider. Because this verb is used for expressing your thoughts and your opinions. This is important because puda is different. This is for expressing your personal thoughts or opinions. Like, what I think is like that. And it's your thoughts and opinions from internal factors. What does that mean? I don't like using fancy words, but internal just means these thoughts come from yourself. So it's your personal opinions, your personal thoughts. It's not like necessarily what you heard, like someone told you this, so I think. It's not like that. It's like, well, what I think is this. Not, they told me this, it's this. But you're like, actually, despite the external evidence, internally, what I think is this. So that's what really is the nuance when you use 생각하다, is that you're expressing your own internal thoughts. And that's a little bit different because there's another form that's also commonly used to say you think. And that one you're probably even thinking about right now, and that is the 같다 form. I've done other lessons about these, so I won't do a review about this one. This one's used with adjectives though. So you'll take any verb, change it into an adjective in any tense, and then 것 or call 같다, which means to think. And this one is different because this is for external factors. This is for expressing what you think from an external factor. So it's not your own opinion necessarily. It's more like it seems to be. Like, it looks like that. I think it is because it appears to be, or someone told me that directly, so I think it is. So that's the main difference between these two. And this lesson is not about the difference between these two. It's going to be about puda, but I wanted to kind of give you that really quickly as an introduction. That this one is for external thoughts, like things that seem a certain way. Like, I feel that, I can sense that because of this. Whereas this one's more like, no, the thought came from inside of my brain. The call's coming from inside the house, sort of deal. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a second, and then I'm going to go on to a few examples of 생각하다, and then we're going to go into the main form for today. I just don't want to miss your comments, so I'm going to check this really quick. Breaker fixed. I hope so. I think it's the breaker. I'm pretty sure it's the breaker switch. I don't know if anyone knows about electronics. I don't. But I think it's the breaker switch because it won't let me reset it. Like, I can click it off and I can click it on, but it won't stay on. It just immediately flicks back to the center. So I think the switch died, but it did suddenly pop and shut off when I was trying to use my tea kettle, and I smelled like some plastic from it. So I don't know. But anyway, it's not something I'm going to try to fix by myself because I wouldn't feel comfortable pulling out the breaker switch. I am okay with like changing an outlet. That's not a big deal because, even if it shocks you, it's not that bad. But the breaker, the circuit breaker, 두꺼비집, I believe is called in Korean. That's very bad. That's very dangerous. I don't want to touch that. They know Adobe has been keeping Arnold Schwarzenegger in the basement. Yes. Get a chugga and cut the tile. Is that, I think that's the no, I think that is the technical name. That's what I would say if I was going into Lowe's or Home Depot. I would say, excuse me, sir, do you happen to know which aisle the chugga could be in? It'd be like, oh yes, of course. Well, we are currently in stock. We have 3 chugga. And which brand would you like? Be like, oh, the blue one. Oh yeah, the blue chugga is just down aisle 17. Thank you, kind sir. I know what you're talking about. It's the flat one that does That or an angle grinder. I call it an ankle grinder. I don't know why, but yeah, something like that. But I don't think I'd be able to do it nicely enough. But I don't know. Maybe I could. I did build my podcast set, and I have a jigsaw, but I don't think a jigsaw would be the right tool for cutting through tile. Welcome, Helen. Hopefully, Billy will not be getting a surprise visit threats from Adobe. Yeah, suddenly I'll pick up the phone and it's, I heard you were telling my secrets. From Arnold or something. Can your internal and external overlap? Yeah, it just depends which one you want to express. You can express a thought using, like you can have the same thought with 같다 and 생각하다. This isn't really part of the lesson. Like you can say, 오늘 좀 추운 것 같아요. 오늘 좀 춥다고 생각해요. And on the surface, the difference is that 생각하다 sounds a little bit more formal, a little bit more proper, because it's like saying, I think it is a little cold, versus it seems a little cold. But really the difference is that if you say 좀 추운 것 같아요, it's saying, well, it's actually, I feel cold. Like it's obviously cold today, and that's influencing me to feel that way. It seems cold. Whereas 생각하다 is like, my opinion is it's a bit cold. And it sounds like it's just coming from your own brain, like irregardless of the fact that it's literally snowing outside. It's like, well, my personal opinion is. That's why it sounds a little bit more formal, but you can say the same thing. Both of them mean, I think it's a little cold, but there's different nuance to it. And in that case, you probably would say 같다 in most cases, but you could say 생각하다. Like what if someone said, do you think this temperature would be okay for like doing outdoor sports? Then you can say, well, like, it feels a little bit cold. It seems like it would be cold, judging by the weather. But you could also say, my opinion is, I think it would be a bit cold. And that'll sound perfectly natural, since in that context, you are actually expressing your personal opinion about something. Like my opinion is, irregardless of the external factors, my opinion is. So yeah, there can be overlap with them. But this isn't a lesson about those two. I've done classes about that before. Okay. That is important though, because if you know that, it'll make learning puda a little bit easier. So let's do a few quick examples using 생각하다. Okay. 괜찮다 is to be okay. 괜찮을 거라고. Future tense. It will be okay. 생각하지 않아요. I do not think it will be okay. 괜찮을 거라고 생각하지 않아요. I do not think that it'll be okay. So I don't think that it will be okay. Okay, I have 5 examples with 생각하다 before we go on to our main form. These will be kind of quick. Welcome, welcome. Okay, next one. Hopefully you had time to write it down. Hopefully this is so simple, you're like, come on, Billy, get on to the lesson. Get on to puda so I can learn something new. Don't worry. Wait, this one has charsu. I can't write it in red. Get to switch to blue. Okay. charsu가 미국에 산다고 생각해요. Okay, 철수, our friend 철수. 철수가 미국, America, 미국에서 산다고 생각해요. I think that 철수 lives, 산다고, from 살다, lives in America. So my opinion is that 철수 lives in America. I think 철수 lives in America. 철수가 미국에서 산다고 생각해요. Okay, I'm just going through these kind of quick. Just give you 1 minute, and then I'm going to erase this and do the next one. So I can move the microphone away. I don't want it to block the board. There we go. That's better. Only I can block the board. Okay, you got it? I got 3 more short examples. Why am I doing examples of 생각하다 if it's the lessons about puda? Because I really want you to be able to compare them. Because puda is a different form than just saying to think. Different uses. Hey, 아닌 것 같은데 철수가 캐나다에 도망간다고 들었어요. Yeah, I don't think so, but I heard that Charsu ran away to Canada. Very good. He might have. After all of the mockery of being in Korea from my lessons specifically, he had no choice but to run away to Canada. I guess. At least that's what we heard. Pizza, the pizza. 피자가 맛있다. Pizza tastes good, tastes delicious. 맛있다고 생각했어요. So I thought, 했어요, past tense. I thought that the pizza tasted good. Notice that it's not 맛있었다고 생각했어요. It's not I thought that it had tasted good. You don't need to do double past tense in Korean like that, like we do in English. Just the last verb needs to be in the tense that you want. Or if you're connecting with another sentence, you can do it with like in the middle of a sentence if it's necessary. Usually, unless you need to emphasize it, just the last part of the sentence can be in the tense you want. 피자가 맛있다고 생각했어요. So I thought, what did I think? The pizza tastes delicious, is what I thought. So that has in there, was delicious, right? Even though it's not saying was. If you were to say 맛있었다고, like past tense, it would sound like you were saying at that time the pizza was delicious is when I thought that, but it's a little bit unnecessary. 피자가 맛있다고 생각했어요. I thought that the pizza tastes delicious. 2 more examples. 저는, for me, as for me, 아니라고 생각해요. So for me, I think, 생각해요. 아니라고, which is 아니다, to not be. So I think it is not. For me, I don't think it is. 저는 아니라고 생각해요. So I think it's not. You think it is. 저는 아니라고 생각해요. I think it's not. Which of us is right? Well, obviously, it's me. 저는 아니라고 생각해요. So I think it's not. Okay, 1 more example sentence. I'll leave this up for just 10 seconds. 9, 8, 3, 1. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to go through this fast. That way we have plenty of time for puda. Because I know that's the main topic for today. Okay. The plain form, or the plain quoting form, is not the only way that you can use the verb 생각하다. You can also just use it like a regular verb, in which case you can use words like I think so, like I think that, right? Or how do you think? So in this case, 그렇게 means so, means like that. 저도, so me too, 저도 그렇게 생각해요. So I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. You can use the word 그렇게 for so. You can also use 이렇게 for like this is what I think. You can also use 어떻게, meaning how. 어떻게 생각해요? What do you think? We would say what do you think, but in Korean they say how do you think? 어떻게 생각하세요? What do you think? Or 무슨. 무슨 is an adjective that means what. It's the adjective form of 무엇, meaning what. 무슨 생각해요? That is what do you think, but it's not like what do you think as in how do you think? It's more like what are you thinking of? 지금 무슨 생각해요? What are you thinking of right now? Were you thinking of another language? Huh? While you're in Korean class, were you thinking about another language? So disgusting. I can't believe you. That is, what are you thinking about? 무슨. So, let's go on to our main form then, puda. Okay. So, puda literally means to see or to look, and it's an action verb. You're probably familiar with it. You might know how you can use puda after a conjugated verb to mean like to try to do something, or just puda to mean like to see, like I saw the movie or something like that, or maybe 보고 싶다 to say that you want to miss, or maybe 보고 싶다 to say that you miss someone. It has a lot of uses. But if you use it after a plain quote, meaning the 고 ending, like we saw, like 하다 becomes 한다고 보다, and then conjugate this, it means to think. Literally, it means that you see something a certain way. So if you say like 한다고, if you say like 맛있다고 생각해요, it means I personally think that it is delicious. But if you say 맛있다고 봐요, you're saying the way I see it is it's delicious. Literally, that's what you're saying. So then, when would you use 보다 instead of 생각하다 to say I think? Well, this is not just used when you are saying your opinions from internal factors. You're not just expressing your personal thoughts and opinions. This one is used when you judge or evaluate something. Literally, when you see it. So after you've judged it or evaluated it, the way I see it is like that. So it's not used in the same situations where you would say 생각하다, even though it translates as think. So, for example, this is the form you're going to be using when you make a call. Not a phone call, not when you're making a phone call, but if you make a call as in a judgment, like, you know what? I had to make a call and I see it as this. So you're judging something. You're giving your final evaluation on something. And this form is not used for expressing your subjective thoughts. Meaning, if this is a pure opinion, you do not use this form. So, although it means to think, it's not for your opinion. puda doesn't care what you think. It doesn't want your opinion. It wants your judgment, your evaluation. So don't use this to say like, I personally think, because it's not that. This is what you judge. You make a call, make a decision. It's not your opinion. I mean, it is your opinion in the sense that it's what you are judging, but it's not your opinion in the sense that it's not just a pure guess. It's more like your actual judgment. So the key word for this is you're judging something, you're making a call. So there's a better way you can translate this. Besides just to think, you can translate puda as kind of like the way I see it, or I judge this to be. Kind of like that. But for a natural translation, I think works fine. Okay. And if you want an even simpler comparison of this form with 생각하다, this form sounds more direct because 생각하다 is really just like your opinion. Like the way that I think, Like, personally, I think like that. This one is more direct. Like, you know what? The way I see it is this. You're being more direct. You're not just saying it's my opinion, but it's like, that is my actual judgment, and I'm probably right, is what it means. You're not going to say that you puda, that you think pizza would be a good option to eat for lunch, unless you're all trying to make like some big decision, like what to order or something like that. And you want to be like, here's the final judgment. The final judgment is this. So it sounds more direct than the other ways of saying to think. So you can't just swap any sentence with puda or 생각하다 or vice versa, because the nuance will be very different. I'll leave this up for just a minute, and then we're going to do some example sentences. This seems to walk a fine line with 맛있어 보여요. 맛있어 보여요 is when you are simply noting that something physically looks a certain way. So it's not, I think it's good, and it's not, that looks good, but it's more like literal. Wow, that appears to be delicious. I'm sure it looks like that, actually looks like that. You wouldn't say, oh, that test looks really difficult unless you physically have seen the test, because you can't say it appears to be that way unless you've seen it. So there are going to be situations where you could say something physically looks like it and say that I judge it to be a certain way, but the nuance is still a bit different. As long as you get that, though, it's fine. And yeah, as Cosma says, it would be like visually tasty. So the difference, though, Keith, between that, then if you're talking about something that you can see, then this would be still, you're making a decision. So it has the nuance of I'm making a choice. I'm making the final judgment is this. I'm making a call. Whereas you're not going to say, 맛있다고 봐요. Like, I'm making a call that tastes good. My judgment is that it tastes good. Like, you would do that after you try eating it, but you're not going to say it 맛있어 보여요 after you took a bite of it already. Like, that's weird. You would only say 맛있어 보이다 before you've eaten it while it still looks good. But after you take a bite, if you were to say, oh, 맛있다고 봐요, that's like my judgment is this is delicious, which, I mean, you could say, it wouldn't really mean it wouldn't be the natural way of saying, I think it's delicious. That would be, oh, 맛있는 것 같은데? Oh, 맛있어요. You would just say 맛있어요. But if you want to get really technical, then yeah, this one's more like your judgment. So you wouldn't say this after you wouldn't say this before you even tried it. But you would say 맛있어 보이다, or you could say that before you've tried it. However, not directly related to your question, but about that form, the 보이다 form is not that common because it's a very literal form. If you wanted to say something looks a certain way, it looks delicious, it looks difficult, it looks fun, they actually don't use that. They use the 겠다 ending. So 맛있겠다, oh, 맛있겠네 is way more natural to say that looks good than to say 맛있어 보여요. 맛있어 보여요 is more like literally, oh, it appears like it's really delicious. Like visually, it looks good. Is kind of what you can kind of add in the word like visually for like 보이다 and 들리다, like, or auditorily, I don't know for listening wise, but anyway, for 보이다, it's like visually it looks delicious. Visually it looks difficult. Oh man, visually that looks visually pretty fun. Like it would be pretty fun. 재밌어 보여, like that. But if you're saying, oh, I think that would be great. Oh man, that looks so cool. Oh, 재밌겠다. 맛있겠다. Oh, 어렵겠다. Oh, 진짜 춥겠다. That's like your observation. So, okay. So let's do a few example sentences. I actually have more than a few. I have 6 example sentences of this with this form. 저는 이게, which is 이것이. So this, 이것이, 이게 좋은 기회, a good 기회, good opportunity가 되다. To be, it will be. 될 거라고, future tense 되다. So it will be a good opportunity. 봐요. I see it. I see that this will be a good opportunity, is what you're literally saying. But it's more like, I think that this will be a good opportunity. But it's also the nuance of saying, like, I am judging. I'm making a call that, yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity. In my opinion, what I judge is, I judge that this is going to be a good opportunity. So I see it that way. 저는 이게 좋은 기회가 될 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is that this is going to be a good opportunity, is what it sounds like. It's not like, well, my personal opinion is that this will be a good opportunity. It's not that. It's saying the way that I've already thought about it, and I judge it to be this way. So it's not just my current thoughts right now in my head, but it's like, hey, I've already made a conclusion. I've already judged it. This is the way that I see it. So it's more direct than just saying 될 거라고 생각해요. Like, I think. But you could swap it, and your sentence is still perfect. 봐요, instead of 생각해요, has more of a direct feeling. It's like, the way that I see it is this. Like, that's what it is. Whereas 생각해요 is more like, well, that's my opinion. You know, I might be wrong, but that's my opinion. 봐요 is like, yeah, it is. Although that's my opinion, but it is kind of what you're saying. 저는 이게 좋은 기회가 될 거라고 봐요. Sorry, I wrote this a little messy. Let me rewrite that so it's easier to read. 한다고 봐요. Okay. 이것보다. So more than this. 더, more than this. By default, though, if you have 보다, it's going to be 더 if there's nothing else here. But you can also add it for more emphasis. So more than this. 나은 comes from the verb 낫다. To be preferable, which is like to be better. Like, I would more prefer, like, I would rather have that. I'd prefer it. 나은 is just the adjective form. 나은 방법. A better way, a better method than this. 을 찾다, to find. 찾아야 하다. We have to find a better method than this. 한다고 봐요. So the way I see it is we have to find a better method than this. 이것보다 더 나은 방법을 찾아야 한다고 봐요. 이것보다 더 나은 방법을 찾아야 한다고 봐요. So I think we have to find a better way than this. 이것보다 더 나은 방법을 찾아야 한다고 봐요. Yeah, I'll leave this up for just a minute. Let's check the chat. Welcome, welcome. See if I missed any other comments. Let's see here. But yeah, so I'll try to this week. I should probably hire an electrician because I literally can't, I don't have a microwave right now at all. And I can't use I have like a little spare microwave from 2010. I bought like a little counter. No, I got it for free. Yeah, I got it for free. A little small countertop microwave that I got for free in 2010. Still works, but that plugs in the microwave. I mean, it plugs into the microwave socket, which is currently down, and that I need to replace the breaker for. So I can't even microwave anything in the kitchen. I guess I could move the microwave to the living room area and microwave stuff like from the sofa. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so I gotta call an electrician. If you read an article that says well-known Korean teaching YouTuber Billy found dead, it's because I tried to fix it myself, but I'm not going to be doing that. That would be the last thing I'd want to do is try to repair something that's actually like dangerous. That's like a microwave. I wouldn't want to open up a microwave for the same reason. It's not fun. Not the fun kind of electricity you want. I did do a lot of electric stuff when I first moved into our current place. I replaced a bunch of the light switches because they were all like old, and I replaced them with smart light switches I got in like a set that was on sale. So I was rewiring all of those, but that's pretty easy because you just remove like a wire and put another wire. It's really basic stuff. But I do remember while I was doing that, I think I forgot to turn off the electricity to the breaker. So I was doing it fine for the other because I'm not actually touching the wire, and I had gloves and I used a little tool to tighten it. But then one of them, for whatever reason, I was like trying to fit it in. It wouldn't fit. So I grabbed it by the side and I got like shocked, and it was like really weird feeling, but it wasn't that bad. But that was only like, the wall power. It's not that much. It wasn't like the breaker, which is crazy. It's 26-year-old microwave. Yeah, at least. Nah, I don't know. Microwave slot. Yeah, the sacrifice Billy made for Hot Pockets. Do you think the issue with the microwave blew the breaker? No, the microwave dying was not what happened with the microwave is it actually still works fine, but the door doesn't lock. So that's the microwave. It wasn't an electrical issue. So I unplugged it, barely got it off my wall, which is kind of gross if you guys want to hear. So maybe you do want to hear. Well, let me erase this. So I was pulling off the old microwave. It's one of those microwaves that mounts above your oven. So you tilt it and it comes down, and then you pull off the back and pull it out. If anyone's replacing a microwave, you know what I'm talking about. This is standard. But I unscrewed the microwave and it would just like fall down like an inch. It wouldn't actually come out. And I'm like pulling on it. It doesn't move. It's like stuck to the wall. And I'm like, this is weird. When the builders made this place, did they like glue it to the wall? Is there like some special thing? So I'm Googling and checking YouTube, and I found some video where this guy's like, oh yeah, some of them have a special latch. You have to release the latch. So I'm like, cool. The latch is underneath the vent, but I couldn't get the vent off. The vent wouldn't come off because it had been like, there was glue around the side of the vent, which I later realized, since it's a 21-year-old microwave, it wasn't glue. It was just cooking oil from being 21 years old. So the vent didn't come off, but I got a screwdriver and pried it off, and it shattered the vent. The entire vent on the microwave was like broken into a bunch of little pieces. There's like plastic everywhere, but I got it off. I'm like, whatever, we're throwing away the microwave. It's fine. And I'm looking, and there is no latch. This model wasn't one of the ones that had a latch. So it was something else. So I'm thinking like, what could it be? Is it glued to the wall? So I start like hitting it. I'm like hitting it with like a hammer I have and trying to loosen it. Nothing's working. Then I had an idea. Well, the vent was glued on. I wonder if the glued on with, cooking oil for 21 years. I wonder if the microwave is glued onto the wall. And it was. So I just pulled it a little bit farther, and I hear this snap as like all the glue comes undone. And then it finally came out. It had just been glued to the wall, to the mount, like the metal mount, from 21 years of cooking grease and stuff. But anyway, we finally got it out. But no, it wasn't related to the microwave. That was just the door wouldn't work. So the door would close, but it wouldn't close all the way. And so the light would still be on. If you like pushed it really hard, then it'll close. But it was really annoying. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe this is something I can fix. So I took a chopstick and I put a chopstick into there's like a little lock on the door, like a little plastic thing that grabs the door and locks it. It's just plastic, so I wasn't like sticking metal into a microwave. But I'm like, you know what? I could probably push it back and forth a little bit to see if I can loosen it, because it's probably, old and sticky. And I stuck a chopstick in. As soon as I started sticking in it, I heard this big snap, and I looked inside, and the thing that's supposed to grab the microwave door was gone. Like not pushed, but just gone. Like, that's weird. I didn't push that hard, but I still tried it. It still wouldn't close. I'm like, okay, well, there's still one more. Let me try that one. Maybe I can loosen up that one. Tap, snap, and that one disappeared too. I'm like, well, I guess it was just dying. I guess it just didn't have any life left in it. So now the door doesn't even close. So basically the light would be permanently on. You can't microwave with it anyway. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get a new microwave. It's 21 years old. You know, it lasted longer than it was supposed to. But yeah, that's the story of my microwave. Okay, next sentence. 저만, only me. 이렇게 생각하는 건. So 이렇게, like this. 생각하다. So to think like this. 생각하는 것은. So I'm not the only one thinking like this. 아닐 거라고 봐요. 아니다, to not be. So it will not be. Future tense. 아닐 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is, I'm not going to be the only one. It's not only me who thinks like this. 저만 이렇게 생각하는 건 아닐 거라고 봐요. So the way I see it is, I'm not going to be the only one who thinks like this. At least how I see it, I'm not going to be the only one who thinks this, is what it means. 저만 이렇게 생각하는 건 아닐 거라고 봐요. You could ask AI for changing a breaker. I did, actually. Not on purpose, but when you search on Google, whether you want to or not, it'll make up this AI summary of what it thinks you want. I didn't use it, but it said, because I was trying to search if it's safe to replace a breaker switch by myself, or if it's something that requires like a little bit of experience with electronics, which I don't really have. And AI is like, yes, as long as you have, basic safety protocol and switch everything off, it's safe. But then I'm like, I'm not going to trust that. So I searched a little bit more on the internet. I found some posts on Reddit, and people were saying like, if you are not comfortable with electricity, even if you shut everything off, don't do it. They're like, if you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it, because even though you're probably okay, you shut everything off. I have a voltage checker. I have like a little pen that can check if there's voltage, so I can check if it's still safe. But they said the reason is you'd have to take off the box, you'd have to remove a whole one and put it back in the right way, make sure it's not already flipped. And if you mess it up, if you accidentally stuck your fingers in the wrong place, it's not like, ow, ow, it's like you're dead. So I realized, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I'll replace the microwave. I can do that. It's not a big deal. I can do like some really basic electricity stuff inside the house. Like if it's the outlets that need to be replaced, I can do that. It's not a big deal, but I'm not going to mess with the circuit breaker. So yeah, one man, many. Yeah, that's right. You got to go multiple times to the hardware store too. Chinese husband likes to fix everything with a chopstick. I was hoping it would work because I was thinking like the chopstick is going to replicate the same piece that goes into the microwave and pushes it, but that way I can kind of like loosen it, right? Because it was stuck. And then I have some 3-in-1 oil I can add to fix it. So I was like kind of prepared. I just wasn't prepared for the plastic itself to be really weak. And then I Googled on the internet as well and found out that the switches are like a $5 part. It's just pieces of plastic. But in order to replace the switch, you have to disassemble the whole microwave to do that. Like you take off the vent, you take off the front, you take off the back, everything and then you can get there. But I also happen to know that microwaves can store their voltage for months, even after they've been off. And microwaves are like the number one, the most deadliest appliance in your entire house, if you're curious, easily. So I'm like, you know what? It's 21 years old. Let's just get a new microwave, was my way of thinking. I'll let someone else play with that. Can you translate 타고 보다 as implying clearly or actually? So I kind of like what you're suggesting. Clearly implies that you're saying, of course. And yeah, it's kind of like that because you're not just expressing your personal opinion, right? You're saying, this is my judgment. So clearly also kind of adds that feeling. Like, I'm not just saying what I think, I'm saying what I'm pretty sure about. Like, I've decided it. I'm making a call. So yes, clearly we need to do this. Clearly, I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I think that's a really good way of translating. I should have thought of that myself. But yeah, there are other ways though you could express clearly. Like if you actually want to say something is clear or obvious, you can use like 당연히. I'll actually write that down because you should know that. 당연히 is like, of course, clearly, like that. But that's like more of saying something's obvious, like it's evident. 당연히 저만 이렇게 생각하는 거 아닐 거라고 봐요. You can add it, but it kind of does have that a little bit, that feeling of like you're like, you know, I have the high ground, that sort of feeling. That's what I think. Hold on, I think I've checked my email again. Okay, I thought it was telling me I had a notification. So let me check here. Never guess with electricity. Yes, yes. Yeah, I wouldn't trust AI for anything that's actually really important. Because it can say like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Connect the wires together. It's best I recommend opening it with a fork. Like, you know, it could say all that stuff. It doesn't know. 우리가, so we, us, 정말, really, 결승전. 결승전 is the, like, the finals of a competition. 결승전까지, up to the finals. 가다, to go. 갈 거라고 보세요? So this case, it's a question. 보세요, honorific, 보세요. This would be 봐요 in regular speech. So do you see it as we can go, 가다? Not we can. Do you see it as we will go up to the finals? Really? 우리가, we, us? 우리가 정말 결승전까지 갈 거라고 보세요? 우리가 정말 결승전까지 갈 거라고 보세요? So do you really think we'll make it to the finals? 우리가 정말 결승전까지 갈 거라고 보세요? Again, 보세요. This is a regular action verb. So you don't have to just use it to say 봐요, 봐요, 봐요 every sentence. You can use it for asking questions. You can use it for present tense or past tense if you wanted to. Anything like that. Just wanted to show that it can also be used in questions. So do you really think that we'll make it to the finals? Yeah. Oh, I noticed, Natalie, I just noticed now you were singing the Hot Pockets song. You know what, Hot Pockets, this might be a controversial opinion, but I think the large Hot Pockets are superior in every way to the smaller Hot Pockets that they sell now exclusively. They used to have, I don't think they do it anymore for most of them, they used to have two sizes of Hot Pockets. They had the regular size, which were tiny, and then they had the full size, which would be like what you'd get in a vending machine for a few dollars. And those were more like burritos, basically. And those ones were so good because when you heated them up, you got like a lot of cheese and meat in them. It was like having a rolled up pizza, basically, like a whole slice of pizza that was rolled up. But they stopped selling those. And instead they made the tiny ones a little bit bigger and started advertising like now 50% larger. It's the same tiny little Hot Pockets. But I think the larger ones were superior, but I haven't seen them in stores for years now. They don't carry them anywhere. I did see sometimes they'll have like a specific flavor, like a flavor no one wants. It'll be like ranch barbecue guacamole or something like that. They'll have some weird flavor that they'll have in the large size, but they used to have the regular flavor, like just pepperoni, in the larger size as well. And those were really good. I like those a lot. My guess though is they stopped selling them because it was like it was basically like dangerous. It was a safety hazard because when you cook them according to the instructions, they would become the temperature of plasma, and you had to let them cool down for a significant amount of time before you could eat them without scalding your entire mouth. So I think that's why they stopped selling them, maybe due to like people complaining like, hey, I microwaved a Hot Pocket, it spilled on the floor and now there's a hole in my kitchen, like that sort of stuff. But I still miss them. I think those were the superior Hot Pocket. Hot Pockets are the microwave, or I guess you can toast them, but they come with a little toaster paper around them, so they can get pretty good even the microwave. But they're just that little like a pizza flavored thing. Pizza flavored. Yeah, it's supposed to be like an inside out pizza, like a calzone that you can microwave, that you can also hold in your hand. I remember at school, in high school, I would buy them, the large ones, from the vending machine, and then you go to the bathroom and you get a bunch of the paper hand towels, like in the bathroom, and you roll up the Hot Pocket in the paper towel, and then you put it in the microwave, because that was before they used to come with the little paper things that would help toast them. But this way you can get it nice and toasted. It would like kind of steam and toast in there, and put that in the microwave and spin it around, get it out, and then use that as like a hand, like kind of like a holder after it was cooked. You'd push the paper down, kind of hold it in there. Even after you let it sit for 10 minutes, still burns your mouth. Pepperoni Hot Pockets. Yeah, those are the good ones. I only know about Hot Pockets from Jim Gaffigan. Yeah, Hot Pockets. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They don't have the cardboard holder anymore, so now they aren't crispy when you put them in the microwave. Yes, they do. They still do, right? No, they can't get rid of those. That was the whole idea, is that they would taste like you had toasted them even when you put them in the microwave, because the little paper had a reflective piece in it which effectively turned the microwave rays into heat. So it actually would toast them instead of microwave them, which is really cool technology. It wasn't just paper to keep it hot or anything. It converted the microwaves into regular heat waves like a toaster would do. So it was really cool, but I didn't know if they stopped offering them. I haven't bought them a long time because, like I said, I used to like the larger ones. I'm not a big fan of the small ones. They couldn't have gotten rid of them though. I wrote that out of order and that looked messed up. See, this is why you got to follow stroke order. If you write one word out of order, it just looks really wrong. Like I was trying to write hawk, but I wrote it like this. And it looks wrong. It doesn't look the same as this. This looks weird because I wrote it out of order. Even though it might look similar, it looks weird in Korean to write this first, because you get like a different balance. That's why stroke order is really important. Okay. 저는 확실하게 하다. To do something clearly, to do something definitively, to be sure to do something. 확실하게 하는 게. So 하는 것이. So now we're going to be just describing the act of doing something clearly, definitely. 낫다, again, to be preferable, to be better. 낫다고 봤어요. So 봤어요, past tense. I thought, literally, the way that I saw it was that it would be better to just make sure, to just do it right, to do it the correct way, to make sure we got it done. 저는 확실하게 하는 게 낫다고 봤어요. So I thought it would be better just to make sure we did it right. 저는 확실하게 하는 게 낫다고 봤어요. Top of the hour to you. The paper's gone? No way. Keith says, I prefer to mushy. That's gross. I mean, I'll let you can do whatever you want with food, but I don't know. I don't think so. You know what I do like though, even though you can't get the big Hot Pockets and whatever, I really like French bread pizza. You know, like it's like a half piece of French bread that you put in the oven. Those are still pretty good. They still have that Hot Pocket feeling for me. 피자 얘기 들으니까 출출하네요. Yes. Kind of feel a little bit hungry, huh? I had pizza for lunch. I made right now at not sponsorship for Domino's, but right now Domino's has a special, at least they do in California, where you can get any pizza with any toppings, although internally it's maximum 7 toppings, but up to 7 toppings for $10 or $11 out the door for a large. So I got a large pizza and I put extra cheese, extra bacon, so that's 2 toppings, pepperoni. What else did I get? Oh yeah, mushrooms, onions. Oh, I didn't. Did I do extra bacon? Extra tomato? No, yeah. Oh yeah, and then extra olives. So 2 things of olives. So there's just tons of toppings on this pizza. It was really good. No, that one wasn't extra cheese. I think it already had cheese on it. Anyway, really good. It's like super oniony, not onion, yeah, oniony and olive-y pizza with bacon and pepperoni. It's good. We should definitely get a book from Billy titled The Microwave Store. Not action verb, it's active verb. It's actually both. It's action verb and active verb. puda. Unless you're talking about something else. Oh, I think what you mean. I think I get what you mean. Okay. So, and there are a lot more example sentences also in the worksheet. I believe there are like 12 or something more examples with these forms in the worksheet. So if you want more, make sure to check that out. One more example, 저는. So I, 이 조건. So these conditions, 다. All of these conditions, 감추다. To meet all of these conditions. In this case, 감춘, past tense. So this is being used as an adjective to describe 사람. So a person who meets or met all of these conditions, 없다, to not be anyone who meets all of these conditions, 없을 거라고, there will not be, 보는데요. So the way that I see it is there's not going to be anyone who meets all of these conditions. 저는 이 조건을 다 감춘 사람이 없을 거라고. Let me try that again. 저는 이 조건을 다 감춘 사람이 없을 거라고 보는데요. 저는 이 조건을 다 감춘 사람이 없을 거라고 보는데요. So the way I see it is that there's not going to be anyone who meets or met all of these conditions. So that's how I see it. That's what I think, basically. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a minute. Oh, 갖춘. Oh, thank you, actually, Jihoon. That's very helpful of you. I knew something felt weird when I was like, doesn't that mean hide? I have a typo. No, I did. It's actually correct on here. 갖춘 on here, but I wrote 감춘 for some reason because I can't see. That makes much more sense. So let's start again. 저는 I, 이 조건. So these conditions, 다, all of these conditions. 갖추다, to meet conditions. So in this case, past tense, 갖춘, met. 사람, a person who met all of these conditions. 없을 거라고, there will not be. 보는데요. So the way I see it is there will not be a person who met all of these conditions. 저는 이 조건을 다 감추. I did it again, see? 저는 이 조건을 다 갖춘 사람이 없을 거라고 보는데요. So the way I see it is there won't be anyone who meets all of these conditions. Thank you, Jihoon. Yeah, kamchun is hide. So that's why I was like reading it over, but I'm like, it should be fine. I wrote it down. But no, I wrote it down correctly and I looked at it and spelled it completely wrong. No corn? Are you talking about pizza? Yeah. The Hot Pockets don't have corn in them, unfortunately. Calzone's also really good. I feel like, I mean, I don't need Hot Pockets, but they are nice sometimes. But I guess if I really wanted that kind of experience, I could just buy a calzone, like an actual calzone from an actual pizza place where they don't just fold it in half, but like they make it that way in the first place and it's all sealed up, really hot. You get extra cheese in there. Get a maybe get like an anchovy calzone. I used to get some of those during COVID when I couldn't even go outside. One of my favorite things to get, probably like once a month, maybe once every 2 months. I didn't get it too much, but get a calzone, an anchovy, pepperoni, and extra cheese calzone. Oh, so good. Yes. Yeah. Kamchun and Kamchun mean, so Kamchun would be a person who hid all of these conditions. That's not what we're trying to say. It's trying to say met. Okay. And that is everything you need to know about puda, meaning to think. Let me take a quick thumbnail. Maybe I'll stand over here. That way I can block the weird background. There we go. Now you can't even see the background. Now it's like the background doesn't exist, right? I'm going to stick around for like 20 minutes. I don't have too much time today because tonight I only have like 2 hours, maybe at most, to set up my entire room for filming Korean FAQ videos. And that takes a very long time. Normally it's a 4-hour job, but I have to try to do it in 2 hours because I have to film them tomorrow morning. And then I have to get the room set up again to film another set of videos I have to make for my channel. I have so many videos to film for my channel. 멸치. Yeah, 멸치. What's wrong with anchovies? The funny thing though is if you tell Koreans that you eat anchovy pizza, they'll be confused because in Korea, anchovies are typically the ones that are sold dry. Whereas in the US, when you think anchovies, they're the ones that are in the jar that are like, salted with oil that you put on top of like salad or pizza or stuff like that. I mean, not everyone likes them. Most people don't. But when we think of anchovies, we think of the jarred ones. And Koreans, when they think of anchovies, they think of the dried ones since they have so many variety of dried ones. And that's what they use for cooking. You use the dried ones and you cook them and you fry them with different stuff. But so when they hear anchovy pizza, they think you're putting like dried anchovies or even like cooked anchovies on top of pizza. That's weird. Whereas for, we know it's the salted kind, which if you like them, they taste really good, but it's totally different experience. Giving pizza to everyone here who's feeling hungry. All right, everyone can come over to my house and get a slice of pizza. You just have to find me first. I have one slice for up to like 8 people probably I can do. You know what? We'll go to Costco. We'll all go to Costco together. Find me sometime, preferably actually next week because this week I got to do a lot of filming. Find me. We'll get Costco pizza together. Answer some of your Korean questions. It'll be great. 아주 좋은 수업이었다고 봐요. Thank you. Dried may be okay. I can't imagine a dried anchovy pizza. Keith, that would be strange. Could you do that? I don't think you could put the plain dried ones. I think if you cooked them to make it like the anchovies side dish that you can get at some restaurants where they put like, it's like walnuts or something they add in there with like oil and some different seasoning and stuff. I don't know. I just don't think that would be very good. I feel like a lot of the charm of anchovies is that they're really salty and fishy smelling. Kai says PayPal. I don't see anything. Do I? Oh, I do see something. 13 minutes ago, I see 13 minutes ago, Kai sent. Oh, that was at the top of the hour. Well, how come my email never sent me? They never showed a notification. Kai sent me another donation. Thank you so much, Kai. I have to be sure I don't erase Kat's donation here, so be very careful. Oh, I got it. Okay. I didn't want to erase Kat's donation, then they'd have to donate again. Delete it from my board. We don't want to do that. Thank you so much, Kai. Make sure there's nothing else I'm missing here. Okay, that should be everything. Costco, yes. 피자 먹으러 갑시다. Pizza party. It'll be like jerky bits. 수업이 좋은 모양이에요. Appears to be good. I'm in England. I need to get to Costco for kimchi. Does Costco have good kimchi? I can't imagine they would. Like, kimchi is one of those things where you gotta buy the good brand or else it just doesn't taste that great. I've had some kind of odd brands and they're not that great sometimes. But I don't know, maybe nowadays it's better. I'm talking from experience from several years ago, and Korea's gotten a lot more popular, especially in the past several years. So maybe nowadays there are more decent brands, but Jerry Bits would be a clear no. Should we bring our Korean-made simple books to the pizza party? Yeah, I mean, where else are you going to put the pizzas? I don't have any plates. You have to open up to a page that you don't care about, like some grammar form you already mastered, and you put the slice in the book right there. And that way, the benefit is you can carry it like this, and if pizza pieces fall off, they'll just fall between the pages. So then you can kind of do this, and you can like scoop them all into your mouth really easily. So that's why you bring the book. You can't do that with a plate. Costco kimchi is great. Okay, maybe they have a good supplier for that. It's England. There is no kimchi here. You can make kimchi, Kat. It's very easy. You can, even if you don't follow all the instructions, you can make what's known as makgimchi, which is where you make it and you don't have to ferment it. So, you don't ferment it specifically. And it tastes really good. It's a different type of kimchi, but it's really popular to make. Doesn't require any fermentation time, so you don't have to wait multiple days to do several steps. You can make it right away and eat it right away. Or if you have access to any Napa cabbage, you can do the full kind of kimchi. You don't really need a lot of ingredients either to do it. It's very simple. Just, you can get rice flour. If you want to make it like proper, you can get 새우젓, which is like the brined baby shrimp or whatever. They sell those at most stores. Really easy to make. Gochujang, if you don't have that, you can do gochu. I think it's just gochugaru, which they use. I don't even think they use gochujang for it. But anyway, yeah, it's really easy to make, I'd say. I actually made a video where I made it. If you search for kimchi on my channel, there's a video where I make it and I share it with my mom. Can those pizza pages get your autograph on them? Yes. Yes, I will autograph your pizza paper, but only if it has oil on it. Can we get a live from Billy with just stories? What do you want to hear about? Sainsbury has kimchi in England, but the pots are so small. I can easily eat it in one go. Wow. You don't want to eat too much kimchi at once, though, because of the high salt amount. But yeah, I think, though, if you make your own kimchi, there is a high chance that you can make it taste better than what you get at the store. Because even the kimchi that I make myself, without even thinking about it much, is better than the stuff that comes out of the bags at the store. It's not that the stores don't have a good recipe. It's that the brands you're going to buy at the store try to save money. So they will add less of the brine shrimp, and instead they substitute it with extra salt, but you miss a lot of that flavor. They will not add fresh fruit because that doesn't last as long in the bags. So when you make it, you can add Asian pear, which is awesome, or apple. Apple works really good too. But these are like ingredients that they don't bother to put into a lot of the store brands. In fact, they might replace it with other, like just slices of radish instead, which is good. But the apple ones or pear ones are really good. And you can also ferment it for longer if you want to make it stronger or weaker or whatever. I feel like if you make it yourself, there's a good chance it's going to taste better than store-bought pretty easily. So it's not bad if you end up doing it. Radish and cucumber kimchi. That sounds good too. Mak kimchi. So if you just Google it, I think there's like a video on, do you remember Mangchi? She still does videos, I think. Like there's like a video on her channel I remember watching like over like a decade or so ago when I first started my channel. So that you can find any recipe for mak kimchi on the internet, and it's really easy. My favorite though is pogi kimchi. Pogi is the whole head of cabbage. Pogi is actually the counter for a head of cabbage. So pogi kimchi is the whole thing. That's what you normally see at the store. Sorry. Yeah, the bags in the store will be that. Restaurants will usually use pogi kimchi as like the default kimchi, though other restaurants might have different types like mul kimchi or mak kimchi or whatever they want to have. But yeah, really easy to make. Yeah, if you're turned off by like you're thinking kimchi is complicated, I'm going to be the one to tell you this, but all Korean traditional food is simple to make. Their food, like traditional food, is like England's traditional food, where there are no measurements for stuff. It's just a spoonful of this, a pinch of this to taste. That's what it is. So a lot of the recipes for Korean traditional dishes are just add salt. Like how much? 적당히, which just means the right amount. So you're supposed to like taste it along the way and adjust it depending how you want it. So if you follow someone else's recipe for kimchi, you might say, oh, it's really great, but it's a little bit salty. That's exactly why they don't make the recipes that exact, because they want you to adjust it to how you want it. Things like salt, soy sauce, the amount of spiciness, all that's up to you. But because of that, it makes the recipes really easy to follow, because it'll say like, oh, now you add salt. How much? Well, you decide. Like you can guess like, oh, maybe a cup. Okay, start with a cup. Oh, it's too much. Next time I'll do less. Like that's kind of how it works. But I think a lot of the recipes that I've tried cooking, like Korean food I've tried making, has been really simple. It's not like French cooking where you have to have like special skill with a knife. You have to have all this equipment to do it. The timing has to be perfect. Korean kimchi is like throw it all in a pot and bury it in the dirt and come back a month later and now here's your food. A lot of it's kind of like that, where it's very forgiving on how you cook it, like how long you marinate it, how much of ingredients you add. It doesn't really care a lot of it. And even if you don't make it the correct way, you can still come up with a good alternative. Like all of the stews are like that as well. It's just add this ingredient, boil it. Like, how long do you boil it? Well, that's up to you. What if you don't want to eat it today? Leave it in the fridge. Cook it again tomorrow. If I cook it again tomorrow, how should I heat it up? It doesn't matter. Like a lot of the recipes are very forgiving. Braised tofu. Oh, that sounds really good. Is that the cute older lady? Yes, that is the older lady. The cute older lady. I think she still does videos. I remember she was like huge earlier when I was starting my channel. I think she still is. But YouTube was much smaller at that time as well. Doenjang-jjigae is very easy and satisfying. Yeah. A lot of Korean food, just letting you know, a lot of Korean food is very easy to make. So feel confident. I don't know what the right word is. Don't feel stressed. Don't feel like intimidated by Korean food. Most of traditional Korean food, again, traditional Korean food, I'm not talking about like modern, like fancy dishes, like trendy dishes, not that. That can be, you know, a little more technical. But traditional food is very forgiving. Easiest Korean dish to make is ramen. Sure, ramen's easy. Korean fried chicken is also pretty easy. You just do the double fry method if you want to make it like exactly like what you can get in Korea. You can fry it once for I think they do a short amount of frying first, or no, it's more frying first and then a short amount. I think, yeah. So you first fry it mostly just so it's all cooked, and then you let it cool in the basket for like 5 minutes or so. And then you dunk it back in the deep fryer for another like 5 minutes or so to finish it off. And that's how they do it at the restaurants to make it extra crispy. You do the double fry method. Or if you have a deep fry pressure cooker, you probably shouldn't because they're very dangerous. But if you had one of those, that's like what KFC uses and stuff. Anyway, also fairly easy to make. The sauce is also easy to make. And you're supposed to try it along the way. 제가 사는 도시에 한국 식당이 없어서 슈퍼마켓 김치밖에 못 먹어봤어요. Okay. 간단하게, simple. I made the seaweed. Oh yeah, 미역국. Seaweed miyeok. Yeah, the miyeokguk is great. My brain has gone blank. Yeah, miyeokguk. Miyeokguk. That's miyeok, which is that type of seaweed. It's funny, in Korean they have kim, miyeok, hecho, 다시마. Or is it tashida? I think it's tashima. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it's tashima. Just having a brain fart right now. Yeah. And then there are a couple others too. Like whereas in English we just say seaweed for everything. Maybe dried seaweed. This would be like the kind that's like you see in SpongeBob that's like floating around. That's hecho. Miyeok is the type of seaweed that's the one that you use in like the soups. It's really flat and kind of slimy. And then tashima is like the thick kind of slimy ones that you'll see, like it looks kind of like the ones that are like washed up on the beach. Anyway, it's all seaweed, but a little bit different types. There's another one I'm forgetting too. Yeah, tashima. And then because the reason is tashita is another type, which is, I believe that's like the beef powder stock that's used in cooking. Don't quote me on that, but I know there's a tashita as well, and I think that might be it. Oh yeah, take care, Kai. Eat something. Tell your employees to give you food. It's been a week. You need to eat something. At least some seaweed. Yeah, I'm gonna keep streaming for just another 5 minutes. So just any other few questions, and then we'll go for today because I do have to set up my entire room for filming. I don't want to be up too late doing that tonight. I want to try to finish everything before 8 o'clock if I can, before my kid has to go to bed. Get to the chopper. Yes. Put the cookie down. Now. Maybe an apple. Yeah. maybe a nice, yeah, like a nice carrot, something like that. Like rabbit food. Cherry. That was one of the funny things when we used to have when I was a kid, my brother had a rabbit. Actually, he had two rabbits, different times. And one of the fun things to do if you have a rabbit is you feed them like a cherry. You give them a cherry with a pit. You don't have to take the pit out. You just say, here's a cherry. And then the rabbit will put the cherry in its mouth and then spit out the pit. It's super cute. Like animals, rabbits know how to do that. Just instinctually. They don't chew it or anything. They're just like, oh, there's a pit. Spit out. You don't want to give them too many cherries though, because they can get, stomach problems. One cherry's fine. Oh, Kenneth is asking, is small typo, 약간, 약간, a filler word? If you use it frequently enough, then anything can be a filler word. I wouldn't say it's like a default filler word like some others that have no meaning, because 약간 does have meaning. It means like slightly, kind of like is what it means. But yeah, 약간. 약간 is like slightly, little bit, somewhat, sorta. What's the current time right now? Almost 3:30. That's why I'll stop this live soon. Are there typical Korean desserts? So a lot of Korean desserts would be like things that have pot in them. So like nowadays there are like cakes and stuff like that, but that's more of like a recent addition to Korean, would be like a lot of cakes. Things with pot and things with 떡, I think would be like what you're thinking about. Yakwa. I wrote that really weird. Yakwa were like kind of more traditional snacks. Yanggeng. Yangang. I think it's Yangang. Yeah. Let me double check this. This is like another type of traditional snack. Not very good, but you can still buy it. I don't know. Some people really like it. Yeah. Yeah, Yangang. And I'm not sure if Yangang is from Korea originally or if it's from, China or Japan or whatever. Yangang would also be one. Anything with like pot, so that's the red bean paste, would also be traditional. So they're like originally pat bingsu. So bingsu was just with pot. Yakwa would be another. Gultare. Technically, I think it's A. Yeah, I think I spelled that right. Now I gotta check all this stuff. Stuff I normally don't spell. Oh, it's the IE. Okay. I was close, but totally wrong. It's the other one. Gurtare is one that's from China, but Korea would also get it. I believe it was like just something that like the king would have. So it wasn't a regular snack. Like it wasn't a special dessert that anyone can get. It was something that if you were really, famous, really powerful, you could get gurtare, which is I think they call it like the dragon's beard candy or something like that. It's made by like stretching out honey, like powdered honey. They like stretch it out a bunch of times and make these really thin strands and wrap it. They have a franchise in Korea. I didn't know this when I first saw it, but I later learned it's actually a franchise that has all of these booths set up in popular areas like Insadong and Hongdae. And they hire young guys to pretend to not speak English and pronounce everything with a really poor Konglish accent. They just pretend not to speak English. But anyway, they'll be like, rolling, and place not, they talk kind of like that, like stereotypical type of English. But they do this presentation and they sell them. They're very good though. If you get them fresh, don't let them give you the box they have underneath their thing. Make them give you a fresh box. Because the ones that they give you that are fresh to try are really good. But the problem is once this has been out of the fridge for several days, it starts to harden a bit. It still tastes good, but the texture's not there anymore. They're really fluffy and good like the first day. And if you can't eat them the first day, put them in the freezer at least. But yeah, these are good. They're also something kind of old and traditional Korea. Yakwa is another snack. Tteok, anything with like tteok. So rice cake is also like a traditional Korean dessert, even though it's not like, it might not seem like a dessert. That would have been a dessert type of item because wheat would have been very expensive at the time. This was not like everyone could go buy flour. It was, expensive. So tteok would be something special, as well as rice flour. You can get miltteok with wheat flour and 쌀떡 with rice flour. Let's see, what else would there be? Yeah, I'm sure there are some other things. I mean, if you want to talk about more modern but still traditional snacks, well, then you can get into like the 달고나. That's the thing that they did in Squid Game where they're like trying to poke out the shape. That snack is not that old, but it is from at least, I believe, I'm just guessing, I think it's from sometime after the Korean War. Correct me if I'm wrong if it existed before then, but it's like a really cheap snack made with just sugar and some baking soda, basically, or baking powder, I think. Really good though, like kind of like toffee. That's good. Yeah, there are a few things like this. You learn how to say monkey from Jeremy. Yeah, 원숭이. Hotdog. Yeah, hotdog is good. I don't know how traditional that is because there are a bunch of snacks, like a bunch of baked goods, which are, some of them are straight from China, like 꽈배기. 꽈배기 was also, I believe, from China. That's the twist donut. That I think the reason why we have twist donuts in the US also was from this same thing, but it's basically a twist donut and they're really good because they fry them fresh and then you get them and they're like nice and hot and gooey kind of, and oh, they're really good. So if you ever see 꽈배기, those are good too. There's a lot of stuff, but a lot of the the ones I'm not thinking of, I'm trying not to include, are the ones that I'm sure are more modern. Like, I'm pretty sure 달고나 is more of a modern thing, as in like the last 100 years. Whereas these are like much older than that. Well, Yangang, I think that also would have been, that also might have been within the last 100 years. I don't know. I'm not like a dessert historian. I would have to Google this to figure out exactly when they're all from. Can you explain the exception for, I'm not sure what you mean. Which exception? Can you give me an example? Maybe that tang huru huru. Yeah, that's definitely a modern thing that only lasted a few months and then the trend died and most of the places selling it shut down within the same year. 달고나 coffee trend, that's right. Yeah. You'd have to give me an example with your umnida question because I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, 꽈배기's really good. Okay, maybe I'll do one more question and then we'll stop for today. Let's see. Yeah, the funny thing is like 달고나 nowadays if you go to Seoul, you'll see lots of people selling it. Like on the sides of the street making it. There'll be workshops that make it. It's really good, but it was a dead trend. Like no one would sell them anymore. And the last time I even saw them ever was probably my first month when I was in Korea. I remember seeing it because it was wintertime, and I remember seeing an old lady selling it at one market in Busan. One person selling it. It was already, and at that point, it was already like a dead snack. Like people weren't buying it. And then I never saw it again after that. Like it was very rare to find it. But thanks to Squid Game, it came back a lot. Now you can find it really easily. And I think it's good because it's really cool and unique and you can make it yourself. And they really do let you like try to break it apart, see if you can make it nice and clean. And if you get it, they'll usually give you like an extra, like a little snack, or they might give you an extra one if you get it, depending on the vendor. Oh no, I mean, I understand her question, I understand her words, what she's saying in her question, but I'm not sure what she means with an exception, unless she's talking about ida, right? So ida would be to be. If they're talking about imnida, then I can answer that question, but I'm not sure if that's what they're asking because there is no such thing as an exception with an object marker and the piap-dida ending because that's just a verb ending. You can use it with any verb, including action verbs, which would use the object marker, or descriptive verbs that don't. But if you're asking about this question generally, then I guess I have to assume, are you asking about using it with the descriptive verb, which wouldn't have to do anything with nida. It would only have to do with the fact that you can't use the descriptive verb with the object marker. So maybe a better way to answer their question for Ruchi Teka, who's asking, a better way to answer your question is just to say, watch my beginner Korean course, since it'll teach you all about how to use verbs and the object marker, and then that should answer your question. There's a cafe in Italy that sells jimin coffee, which is just 달고나 coffee. Ah, okay, that's kind of funny. They give you BTS photo cards as a gift when you order it. That's funny. Yeah, 달고나 coffee. I remember that was a short-lived trend during the early months of COVID. Everyone was like, oh, this is cool. And then after that, 달고나 got really famous thanks to Squid Game, like the snack. Unless it came out right after that. I don't know the timing of the 달고나 coffee trend. I just know that 달고나 trend coming back was thanks to Squid Game, which I believe was October of 2021. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good for today. I would like to keep answering questions, but I should go and edit this video and set up for filming for tomorrow. Next week, we'll have another class. I don't know. I think it'll be another intermediate topic. I think the next 3 voting options are going to all be intermediate topics. So make sure to vote tomorrow. Thank you for coming to the live stream, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.